Namaskaram and welcome to the ScienSage. Sometime back we had put out the introductory video to our main program which was called Discover Science. Now this program is aimed at enabling all participants to discover scientific truths and laws and principles firsthand like they were discovered for the first time in history. So in this program what you do is you ask the questions like they were asked in history. You set up the same experiments that were set up when this stuff happened for the first time, and you discover all this cool natural law that's all around us for yourself directly without having to depend upon anybody else or simply passively accept it from any other source like a science textbook or some YouTube course, right? Now, currently, we're still working on these lessons. We're curating the lessons in the proper way, setting up the right kind of experiments, and it is going nicely, but progress is slow because this stuff is a little bit tricky. It's resource intensive in terms of time, money, labor, and all that kind of stuff. So we're still working on it. It's slow, but we'll be hopefully able to roll it out very quickly. Now, ideally, we wanted this program to involve physically the students coming to the lab, trying out all the experiments, bouncing ideas, because that's when it really comes alive. So we had opened it up as an in-person program. And despite the overwhelming positive response the introductory video garnered, I am happy to report that in terms of total registrations for the physical program, we are at a grand total of 0. And with hindsight, we can see why, because even though people are really interested and they do want to come and check this stuff out, we live in Bengaluru of 2023, and every single road is a bit dug up. So people are going to find it obviously very difficult for logistical reasons to come all the way from wherever they are on weekends and make it happen. So we decided to make a quick change. The program is happening in its same form, but all the classes, all the lessons will now be put online on this YouTube channel for all of you to check out. And going forward, whenever you do have some time, you can always come to the lab and check out specific lessons or everything itself in person physically. So that's happening on one side. In the meantime, this channel is also dedicated towards short-term immediate requirements of the education system, not just in India, but globally as well. So we've been looking at identifying different areas of especially science and math education and try to see what the real issues are. Why is it that science and math has this negative kind of a stigma attached to it in terms of how the students feel about it and why they're always so stressed out about it and worried about it. And we decided to also address this on a more short-term, immediate perspective. The Discover Science stuff is more long-term for people of all ages and all age groups and backgrounds, but we also wanted to address something more short-term. Now, obviously the name Discover Science is no longer there. It kind of now all feeds into the ScienSage YouTube channel. We're going to put out many other interesting courses, and it's going to be pretty interesting. Now, coming back to our immediate short-term project on addressing specific issues in the education system, one thing that we've now identified after doing a little bit of research, speaking to students, teachers, heads of schools, parents, and everyone, all the relevant stakeholders, is that one big issue for students, especially in grades 11 and 12, is high school mathematics. Students are extremely worried. They find it very, very stressful, and as a result of that, there's tuition and then there's extra work, and it's just not something that the students are obviously excited about. So we wanted to see what the problems are and how we can make things better. Fundamentally, what we have discovered in terms of how mathematical ideas, especially in high school, grades 11 and 12, how they are presented is there is too much focus on immediately solving questions and solving problems and problem solving techniques and quantity, volume of questions in past papers and question banks, but very little, if at all anything, spent in terms of time and energy, spent in terms of showing the student where these mathematical ideas first came from, how they all come from real life, what do they actually mean in real life, and then therefore what are you actually doing when you're solving the problems. This is why the student comes to problem solving in a kind of a vacuum sense. He doesn't really know what he's doing, he or she. And as a result of that, stress is inevitable, lack of comprehension is inevitable, and it will obviously affect exam performance, and the whole situation becomes very negative. So this is a carefully curated series that we're going to be introducing now. And this is like what I like to call math equals English. Now, What does this mean? This is an approach that we're going to follow now, wherein our program, the course that you're going to see in this particular playlist, will be all the high school mathematical concepts, ideas, broken down and explained in dirt simple plain high school English. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you where these mathematical ideas have come from in the first place, how they've all come from real life situations. What do they actually mean? So when you check out our lessons, you will be able to see, oh, this is what it means. This is what it means in real life. Now you got it. Then when you get to a stage where you can explain it to yourself or to anyone around you in simple English, what really is it? Once you can do that, then going and solving problems will actually be something that you want to do because it will be fun, right? To be honest, that problem solving part, right? Which technique, which substitution to do where, I like to call it donkey work. I don't mean that in a derogatory sense. But why I like to call it donkey work is that is kind of more like a repetitive task. It's more like a physical task. The main thing, the main juice here is to figure out what the idea is. Once you get the mathematical idea in simple English, now you can feel it. Once you can feel it, then you can aram se go and solve many problems on your own. The donkey work you can do on your own. So in this course, we won't be focusing on donkey work. We'll be focusing on breaking down the math into simple English. Once we do this, the seed has been planted. Then you can take it forward and do all the donkey work. Again, I don't mean it in a bad way. So in our program, we'll just be focusing on that. Now, for this to have a little bit of structure and for this to provide the required mileage to all students, we'll be focusing on 4 major curricula for grades 11 and 12. So we've identified grades 11 and 12 IB mathematics, grades 11 and 12 Cambridge, that is AS and A-level mathematics, again 11 and 12 ISC, which is the Indian system, mathematics only, and obviously finally CBSE for grades 11 and 12, again in the Indian system. Now these 4 curricula are pretty vast. They have a lot of crossover anyway because fundamentally math is the same. We'll be following the latest syllabus documents for each of these streams, which is as of Jan 2023. Now, most of the topics are largely similar. There are some topics which are unique to one system and not there in the other. And there are some subtopics which are unique to one stream and not there in the other. To make sure that there is structure to all of this, all the lessons will go according to these 4 syllabus documents. And for each topic, we'll have timestamps. So if you're studying one particular stream and there's a particular topic or subtopic which is not relevant to you, you can look at the timestamp. And the timestamp, we would have put it saying, okay, this is for this stream only, this is for that stream only, and you can navigate away if you don't want to get into that right now. So it's very clear for a student of any of these 4 streams. Now, this is also kind of time agnostic because even as syllabus documents change and undergo revamp, mainly it's basically adding more advanced stuff at the top end, right? Fundamentally, mathematics is still the same. So this will actually be like a timeless resource for students of all batches way into the future as well. Now, for you to take and reap the benefits of this program, since this is right now catering to grades 11 and 12, there is some assumed knowledge that we think a grade 11 student will already be reasonably familiar with, given that he's finished math in grade 10 as well. And that assumed knowledge is basically very rudimentary arithmetic, which is stuff like addition, multiplication, subtraction, division, and basic rules of algebra. Now, if you're a little bit rusty on this, we've included a document in the description which summarizes all those basic ideas. Once you get that, then you'll be able to start the grade 11 and 12 course in a pretty clear way. Now, we also have plans to take this forward because those very basic ideas technically are not very basic. They also have an evolution. They also come from real life. So we are going to soon expand this course into breaking down mathematics in the same way into simple English for grades 8, 9 and 10 following the equivalent systems, that is MYP for IB, IGCSE, Cambridge, ICSE, the Indian system, and CBSE, the Indian system. So there also we'll break everything down and we'll tell you where all this stuff comes from. You'll be able to explain that also in simple English. And then we will also further extrapolate that back into math at the primary and middle school level, because there also we have found some fundamental structural issues dating all the way back to the number system and counting. So we'll be exploring that also in a very, very intuitive, simple, organic way going forward. So you'll have the entire sequence ready from primary to middle to high. Now, what are the benefits of a course like this, apart from the fact that you can watch it from the comfort of your own home? Well, firstly, it will make this whole math thing much less stressful. You will actually start to enjoy the subject. You will be able to voluntarily work on the subject on your own, and it will obviously show up in a positive way in your examination performance as well. But that's not our only intention here. Our intention is once you're able to do that, once the stress level comes down, and once you can explain all this in English, you start realizing how beautiful this subject is, what an art form this subject is. And then you will not only be able to do well in your examinations in the immediate future, you will now have math with you as a tool that you can carry for the rest of your life and use to explore all the life around you and also the life that you are yourself. That is our long-term objective with such a program as well. Finally, if you want an idea as to how the actual lesson will go, there is a video that we've linked in the description, which is a video that we've recorded some time back, which shows you the proof for the area of a circle without using any advanced math like calculus. So you can go through that video and see how we've developed all the ideas in kind of a logical sequence where everything becomes completely clear to you and you can explain everything to yourself in simple English. So that will give you an idea about how the entire series will go. And then we'll be ready to actually start knocking off the individual chapters in your syllabus. Let's do some math. Namaskaram.